China's carbon emission trading scheme kicked off on July the 16th, marking a milestone on the way to carbon neutrality. The scheme also supports global efforts to reduce carbon emissions. For the shipbuilding industry, the efforts mean upgrading technology and know-how while partnering with like-minded companies. Recently, I went to Shanghai to explore one case in point, a Chinese-made container ship for a leading global shipping company. What's special about it? My tour was guided by Ludovic Renou, CEO of CMA CGM China, a world-leading French multinational in shipping and logistics. I also sat down with him for an interview at the company's China headquarters. Welcome to this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. Hello, Ludovic. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. Hi, Liu Xin.
Good, good.
Welcome to the shipyard.
Thank you. So, what's in front of us?
So you are standing here in front of one of the biggest container carrier in the world, 23,000 TEU ship. What is so special about this ship? It is propelled with liquefied natural gas. It's a technological feat, very unique in the world, but this is one milestone toward the sustainability and the environment protection.
Tell me about the color. It's so special.
We designed this very special livery. It's green, but you see it's really representing the gas. It's a kind of constellation. You have this beautiful bubble really showing the process of the combustion of the gas.
And something special about the design I notice here as well, because this line, for instance, is straight.
Yes, we are coming back to classic, but actually this one is an integrated bow. Usually you had those very curved design Formula One ship ready to go fast at sea, but this new design is made in order for the ship to have the least impact on the environment, the least impact on the water.
I see. But exactly how it works, you want to show me the inside
yes,
as well?
Yes, it's a technological feat. Okay, it's not only about design, it's also about the way we have conceived the ship.
Yeah.
We'll show you upstairs.
Let's go.
Let's go. So we're gonna go up the traditional way, Liu Xin, if you don't mind.
No?
Few steps ahead.
Okay, let's
you.
go. So tell me, Ludovic, about this ship, the structure of it.
So here you are on a deck, okay, so this is a 400-meter long ship. You carry 23,000 containers, TEU, we say in our language. Basically 40% of those containers are below this deck, so you are standing on a massive hatch cover, and 60% are carried on the top.
How many crew members will you have on such a ship with 23,000?
How much would you say?
Well, if everything is digitalized, I guess not many.
There are indeed only 26, but 26 crew of experts. It took for each crew 573 days of training before getting on this ship.
Show us the inside of the ship, please.
So we're going to go first up to the bridge to see those digital feet, and then we're going to go at the heart of the ship to see the machine, so you can take a measure of the size of this giant machine that propels the ship.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go for it. Here we go. We are at the very last floor of the living quarter. This is the wheelhouse where the crew is steering the ship and handling all the operation at sea or when getting at berth or unberthing.
That's the wheel.
This is what the wheel has become on a big ship. So the bigger the ship, the smaller the steer wheel.
Indeed, it's like a toy.
Indeed. Yeah. And you could almost describe these as a mini video games. They are not video games, they are extremely sophisticated tools. And you can see that now everything is on screen, touch screen, digital screen. And this is how we can optimize our route and ensuring the best sustainable solution at sea.
It looks like the cabin of a spaceship.
Or the dashboard of a plane, indeed. It's extremely modern nowadays.
And what is this?
It's a copy of what used to be a telegraph. We call this electronic telegraph. This is how you give instruction to the machine, and this is where we are going to bring you next, the very heart of the ship, where in fact when you give instruction here to go ahead, somebody below us is going to give instruction to the machine. But if you want to know more actually about all this digitalization and how we've been assembling this very complex project, I would like to introduce you Monsieur Hu, worked for the Hudong shipyard, and he's been the general manager of the LNG ship production for CMA CGM.
Good morning. Please help us understand what's special about this cabin.
Now, this warehouse layout is more modernization. Currently, one man can control this vessel, only one man in bridge.
Oh, you only need one person.
Only one person at bridge, so we call this one-man bridge system.
So is this the first time that you built a ship of such level of digitization for CSSC?
This is the first time. It's a more challenging project for all parties. And this is the first time with huge vessel running in LNG, container vessel. This is more challenging for all parties. So currently, this vessel can run in LNG from Asia to Europe twice.
To and back?
Yeah, to and back.
Without the need to refuel?
Yeah.
What has been the most special part of the manufacturing process?
So, as you know, it's the first time we use LNG for this huge vessel. So firstly, we developed an LNG tank with membrane. Second, CSS group, we also developed this engine for this huge vessel with dual fuel.
How much of all of this is manufactured here, developed by China, or how much of it is in collaboration with your French partners or from other parts of the world?
We have 190 suppliers from worldwide, and around them, around 50 is from foreigner, and around 140 is from local.
How would you compare your competitiveness as a shipbuilder versus your competitors around the world?
The capacity of CSSC is, for shipbuilding is more than 28 million deadweight ton. So we have a good capacity. And then we have a very good R&D technology. This also we can reach the first level of world. And so you know, this huge dual fuel container vessel now is leading shipbuilding, and with CMA CGM together. So this is the first one which can use dual fuel huge vessel in the world. When we started this project, we met many issues.
What was the biggest issue?
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
But we, CMA, CGM, and shipyard together, we set up a conference call, weekly meeting to help us to solve the notable problem.
How long did it take to build a ship?
We finished this project around 3 years. It's a very good opportunity to build this vessel.
For CSSC?
For CSSC, yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Shall we look a bit more?
So next step, if you want to see the very heart of the ship, we could bring you to the machine, if it's not too hot for you.
I'd love to see how much I can stand it.
So we have reached the very bottom of the ship, where the big engine is.
Yeah.
And we have here a very special gentleman who will be able to explain us more. Yeah. His name is Mathieu Courtois. He's working for CMA Ship, and he's a site manager here in Shanghai for us.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So this is the baby.
Yes, this is the main engine,
How powerful is it?
85,000 horsepower. So the engine can propel the vessel to a speed up to 21 knots. So this is about 40 kilometers per hour.
The whole ship is how heavy if it is fully loaded?
270,000 tons. And of course the main engine is fueled by natural gas. Salut, ça va? So this is the engine control room. This is where the main engine and all other systems are controlled and monitored.
So, Matteo, I see this again. I saw it in the cabin room. What's the connection?
So this is the main engine telegraph. We can use it to adjust the revolutions or the power of the main engine. So here in the engine control room is a backup. In case the connection from the bridge to the engine is broken, we can control the engines also from here.
Manually, kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
How does an LNG-powered container ship compare to a fuel oil-powered ship? What is the benefit of this?
So the benefit is environmental. Our emissions are much better with LNG, natural gas, as fuel. We have a reduction of 99% of the sulfur emissions, 91% reduction of airborne particulates, 92% reduction of nitrogen oxides, and up to 20% reduction of CO2 emissions.
Here we are. We stand on the bridge of this ship, and I wanted to bring you here in order for you to realize the dimension of this big machine. If you were aligning football field from the bottom of for the very back of this ship to the very front of the ship, you could have 4 football fields.
Wow.
Equivalent in less.
Let me
that you
see.
could run.
Wow.
Higher than the Eiffel Tower, a little bit shorter than the Shanghai Pearl Tower. We are standing on this giant tank. Below the wheelhouse here at the bottom, you have the equivalent of 7 Olympic-sized swimming pools of liquefied gas. And it is linked with 3 big pipes running behind the ship, where we're gonna see the machine over there.
So that thing, that tower there is the exhaust.
Yeah, and you can see it's super clear. This is a modern age of shipping. LNG for us is the way, the path towards the energy transition. And we are building more of those machines together, our partner here, Hudong Shipyard in China. Within 2024, we're going to have 44 LNG prototypes in our fleet.
Wow. Trade and climate change are among areas of stronger cooperation between China and European countries. But the relationship is facing uncertainty as some European leaders and multinationals pushing for stability, while some others calling for tougher stands, including sanctions on China. How are European businesses working with their counterparts on the ground in China to fight climate change? How have political relations been impacting them? I'm in Shanghai at the China headquarters of the French container shipping and logistics company CMA CGM, the 3rd largest in the world. And I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Ludovic Renou, CEO of CMA CGM China. Mr. Renou, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you have been working in Asia for over 20 years and you have been in China for over 5 years. So over the past 2 decades, how do you look at the change of China's business environment?
Dramatic change, obviously, when you see where China was standing back in 2000. It was a country that was striving for development. Nobody at that time could anticipate the power of China, the capacity of China to scale up their productivity, scale up their production assets, and most importantly, I think nobody anticipated their capacity to grow up the quality of the product that they are producing. And today, when you go on the international stage 20 years later, China has grown those China champions competing at par with international leaders. And I think this is what we have to remember. about those 20 years.
And your company entered the Chinese market in 1992. Right now, the China market is your biggest market. Can you help us understand exactly how important China is for the company?
So China has successfully grown itself into a key player in the middle of the supply chain, and you can't think about deploying or constructing a logic supply chain solution for your client without counting on China. And as a leader of the shipping and logistic industry, you have to count on China. CMA CGM in China today is 47 offices. Shipping-wise, it's 110 loops coming in and out on China every week, touching 14 ports in China. So every 2 hours, you have a ship leaving China with our cargo. Every 3 seconds, you have a container being handled here in China. When I say a container, it's a CMA CGM container. And if you have to recall what we have seen the past 16 months, which were extremely challenging for the world with the pandemic, people tend to remember, oh, China is the country with the best infrastructure in the world, the best port. You check the world ranking of the port. Out of 10 ports, 7 are leading, and they are Chinese ports. But interestingly, after 16 months, what you can see is China has made the beautiful demonstration of the resilience and the reliability of the supply chain in a world where the chaos were.
So in terms of percentage, how would you say, how important is the China business for your company?
It's a question of market. So for us, China accounts for 13% of our total market share worldwide. Okay? So we are the number 3 in China, but if you look at the weight of China within our whole cargo portfolio, it's approximately 35–37%.
And that is your biggest...
It is our biggest market in the world.
So you talked about just now a very challenging period of time over the past 16 months. Help us understand exactly how challenging it was and what were the reasons behind it and how you overcame it.
You remember the world we were living in before. Everything was extremely sophisticated, well-oiled. We could take a plane, we could go anywhere. We were used to this connected world, and connectivity was very, very smooth.
Right.
For shipping was the same story. Okay, we had successfully developed over the 20 years a network which was extremely comprehensive, but tight knot all together. From the moment you have a disruption in this network, you have a massive disruption and the whole machine breaks down. So when the pandemic hit China earlier in February, the first thing that we had to do is to safeguard the security and the safety of our employees. That was the most important and the relevant point for us. Once this was done, it was address our network. What do we do? Do we unplug our services? Do we revamp our services? And what we had to do, in fact, is to align a very strategic plan in reorienting the right ship to the right trade, because when China shut down, some other trade were still very active. And then it was like a domino effect. Some country fell down or shut off, while China started to recover. And this is where we had to drive our capacity back to China early June 2020. And since the past 16 months, you've seen these very strong volume coming out of China for the simple reason, and I was mentioning this before, the reliability and the resilience of the China supply chain has been amazing. And this is what has kept the world flowing. The consumption worldwide has never strong as it is today. And this is simply because this flow has been very seamless.
So it's the first time in shipping history, I understand, to have 9 container ships that is so huge, 23,000 standard container size, let's say, and powered by LNG. And your company has decided to build all of these fleet here in China with CSSC, which is China State Shipbuilding Corporation. What was the idea driving this collaboration?
So we are talking about LNG, which is liquefied natural gas. Okay, toward the journey for energy transition. Okay, today the LNG is the immediately ready solution, and it is the best solution to achieve immediate result. So behind the partnership that you are describing, there is, I will say, a strong story, but before all, maybe there is the push from our CEO and chairman, Monsieur Rodolphe Saadé, who back in 2017 has taken the bold decision. He was the very first, and nobody had thought about it before, to say, now we're going to embark our investment in assets which are more sustainable, especially versus a competitor. The solution was LNG. Nobody believed in it. So we had to go somewhere in the world and find some partner capable to have to share first the same dream, the same ambition, and wonder can we or can't we do it.
Did you build ship in China before?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
but the LNG is the first time.
It's the first time, and it is a very complicated, I would say, high-tech technology. It's very sensitive, and I'm not an engineer, okay? I'm not going to go into detail, but the most important that you have to remember, this CSAC partnership was a human adventure, okay? It was a collaboration between men and women of two countries who shared the same ambitions, and during 7 years, they were doing research and development without even knowing whether they are going to make it or not. And the beautiful result was in September 2020 last year. They delivered what we call the flagship of the CMA CGM group. It was the CMA CGM Jacques Saadé, and it was the first 23,000 TEU container ship, so indeed the biggest container ship, propelled with LNG. So why LNG? Simply because LNG gives you immediate carbon emission reduction. It's 20% reduction with natural gas, and what we are doing now on the top of the ship, we are investing in new energy, including biomethane. Biomethane that you plug on a LNG ship is minus 67% carbon dioxide reduction.
So what was the experience like working with CSSC? I understand that your company has announced the plan to produce 22 more vessels under this partnership. Help us understand the process.
We've been here for so long, and we needed some people that we trust. Okay? The relationship that we are having with China is all based on trust. We have been here making some connection with people who could listen to us and try to bridge a gap that we could not find anywhere else. And when we went together to the CSSC shipyard, we met some people who described precisely this relationship of intense communication. Languages has never been a barrier. Okay? We were talking about the same technology, we were talking about the same project, and this is how we succeeded to come up with the very best of what you find in the world, technology speaking wise. I think they were mentioning about 150 suppliers worldwide, including a majority of Chinese suppliers, but they have assembled these like a Meccano, and they come up with the best technological fit ever at sea today.
So what is the idea of having these new ships from China to put more importance in your China market, into a China business, or what's the idea of reinforcing the fleet from China?
So reinforcing the fleet from China and reinforcing the fleet globally speaking as well. Huh? The CMA CGM group has long been committed to the environment, to a better way to do things. And the new order that you've seen on the market is indeed to accommodate some specific route where we are going to upgrade our fleet with bigger ship, but also you have to take into account when I speak about upgrade is also to move from a traditional propelled ship, okay, with now an LNG propelled ship, okay, and this sustainability factor is key for us.
Is there a factor of more trading activities predicted between China and Europe, let's say, or other parts of the world? Is that a factor as well, or not necessarily?
The market is growing. This year, the market has been growing dramatically fast, and we still expect some growth in a year to come, although we see that with the pandemic, there will be a paradigm shift. You see this phenomenon of regionalization happening. We see the phenomenon also of the nearshoring happening more and more as an element of the supply chain. But you are still going to need some ships to call China to go to anywhere in the world. What we are going to do with these new ships is simply to reshuffle the fleet and always plug the right capacity to the right market.
China announced its goal to reach carbon peaking before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. How do you look at the increasing climate awareness in China, and what are your thoughts on China's policies in terms of protecting the environment and the ecological system?
So what we can say is that China has set up the tone, okay, with what they have inked in the 14 5-year plan. It is clearly a target for the whole country, and you can expect that everywhere in China is going to devise a plan in order to achieve the country target, which is a full carbon neutrality within 2060. At the CMA CGM, we have always associated our economic performance to our environmental performances, and we have this long experience to operate in a best manner. Okay, so even though there are some international regulations, such as the International Maritime Organization setting a target for shipping, okay, to reduce the carbon emission by 50% within 2050. And we are convinced that we have to go further those targets. And this is why the CMA CGM Group has pledged to be carbon neutral within 2050. And we are taking action. We are not waiting. We were talking about the investment in those new LNG ships, but we are also investing in the new biofuel. Biofuel means also biomethane. LNG is the best available solution today.
The relationship between China and the European Union and European countries are not the best, let's say, at this moment. Ups and downs, yes, and uncertainty for the future. So how do you comment on the kind of political relationship between the two sides?
So for shipping and business in general, predictability, stability are key elements. We like to know where we go. And when you talk about the EU-China relationship, we believe that stability is key if you want to maintain a rule-based international order. And in the same time, if any attempt to disrupt the international order could be extremely detrimental to the EU-China joint effort and therefore detrimental to the business.
Specifically, have the kind of political differences between the two sides impacted shipping businesses, shipping industry such as yours?
Exactly. But in China, you have an interesting historic idiom saying 求同存异.
求同存异, okay.
Which is describing exactly this capacity to strive to find common ground while shelving our differences, or at least while putting aside our difference of opinion. And this is, when you look at the EU-China relationship, this is exactly what should be happening. Talking about EU-China, but it could apply to any countries. And we should drive for common ground for a better economical development, for sustainable development, and for maybe a better environmental protection development.
Well, China and European leaders have just expressed the will to further collaborate on climate change. So on this respect, what more opportunities do you think can be seized for companies such as yours in this respect?
So China has set their goal. Huh? They are on the rail now. They're going to achieve carbon neutrality within 2060. Here at CMA CGM in China, we could be proud to have already signed so many agreements with many partners who are sharing the same value. And when it comes to environment, you could see what we have done together with CSSC. This is a strategic agreement toward this energy transition and this more sustainable world. But we could have talked as well about our effort to develop the intermodal activities in China with our partner, with CMC. This is where we are trying to develop the concept of block train, bridging deep inland, the deep inland of China to the port of China.
Well, I wish you all the very best. I wish this partnership flourish in the near future. Thank you very much, Mr. Ludovic Renou, CEO of CMA CGM China.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Liu Xin.
With that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. Thanks for watching. You've got The Point.